listening to Retro Station, a retro game podcast.
Most podcasts don't make it past episode 3, but this is episode 4, which begs the question, how could this happen?
Hi everyone, this is Retro Station, a retro game podcast. I'm David.
I'm Hilary.
And I'm Steven.
And today we're going to be talking about Earthworm Jim on the Genesis. But before we do that, we're going to be talking about what we did last week. But before we do that, there's a couple things I wanted to touch on. First off, a little bit of sad news. Julian LeFay, who's known as the father of the Elder Scrolls, passed away at the age of 59. Now we're recording this a couple weeks before you hear it, so this might be old news to you. But I was sad to hear that. He designed the first two Elder Scrolls, that's Arena and Daggerfall, and he had at least some part in Morrowind as well. And Hilary, I don't think you played in the Elder Scrolls, right?
No, but I've watched you play a little bit, and I've seen game footage of it, so I haven't played them, but I'm aware of them.
Have you played any that far back, Steve?
I don't think that I personally have played them. I know that a lot of my friends have played them and have at least seen it. But I only started in Oblivion.
Okay. Yeah, so I couldn't really play Arena. For some reason, I either had a computer that was too weak for it, or it got too advanced, and so I had to go through a lot of rigmarole to try to get it to run. But Daggerfall, I loved the hell out of that game. The character creation was really cool, because you could either go in and fiddle with the numbers, or you could just go through this thing where it would ask you questions like, what do you do in this situation and in this one? And it would give you a character based on that. And I really liked it. And it was buggy as hell, but the bugs were all super memorable and kind of charming to me in a way. I actually patched at some point and I was like, this sucks. I want to fall out of the geometry of the dungeon I'm in and then float my way to a different part of the dungeon on accident. That was great. But, these games I think are so impactful on gaming. I don't think they're the earliest open world games, but they're certainly amongst the most popular, and open world games are a huge thing now.
Yeah.
So, it's sad that happened, but we still get to enjoy the effects of the things he created, and so he has quite a legacy, which is pretty awesome. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you guys, now you guys are both younger than I am. I'm going to say a little bit, because when you think about the grand scheme of time, the amount of years we're different is not that far apart.
Compared to our kids, yes, we are just a little younger than.
Sure. So, were you guys aware of the 16-bit console war, since we're talking about a 16-bit game today?
Mm-mm. The only wars that I know of were between Xbox and PlayStation. I didn't know that there was earlier wars.
I knew there was kind of a Sega Nintendo war a little bit, but I wasn't
I feel older than I ever have.
I feel like Sega was losing so badly that it wasn't really a war.
If you started paying attention at Xbox time, then yes, you were accurate. However, during the 16-bit era, Nintendo came out strong with the NES, and their practices that let them do that were not super awesome. Okay, Nintendo makes awesome games, but they're kind of an evil company. I'm just going to say they're evil. They're the oppressor in video games. But Genesis did kind of come back, or Sega came back with the Genesis, and for a while was beating Super Nintendo before then making a series of really bad decisions that dug their own grave, which is too bad. But, I was kind of a Sega kid. I think it's just because I go for the underdog a lot. But I did like Nintendo as well. But if you had to say, okay, which one are you going to pick? You can only have one. At that point, I probably would have picked Sega. And then, circa, 2000, I'd be very sad because there was nothing left for me. But yeah.
I do remember
So what I'm hearing is that we're the winners because we were
Nintendo kids. You chose the side of the oppressor, and the oppressor won. Yeah.
I do remember, aside from, spending all your money on batteries, the Game Gear being in color was, huge at the time.
Right.
To be handheld and color.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder, I don't know, I'll have to look into it. I've never heard of those, but also I never saw Sega as a big competitor, and maybe that's just because I was more focused on Nintendo at the time.
Yeah.
But I know they had a few different systems all the way up to the Saturn, I think, was their...
Dreamcast was the last one.
Dreamcast was the last one. But I feel like maybe they just didn't have, the exclusives, or...
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think they had
Sonic was pretty big.
Yeah, Sonic was huge. They they had a great marketing campaign during the 16-bit era because they realized that the people who played on the NES were now getting older. They're into the age where they're in their teens. They're more rebellious. So they decided to go for like edginess. Like even Sonic, even though he's kind of cute, was more edgy than Mario. And they had their whole like Genesis does what Nintendo don't ads, which were, I could still remember that whole tune to this day. Like it's super catchy if you ever heard it. But they really went that route, and it worked for them for a time. And then I think by the time, when Nintendo or Super Nintendo had Donkey Kong Country, they started to kind of pull it back and then continue on. And then Sega made mistakes with their add-ons. The Sega CD was good, but too expensive. Then they decided to add the 32X, which also had a lot of power, but by the time it came out, the Saturn was already out in Japan, so everyone knew the new system was coming, so why get this expensive add-on for your Genesis when you know in a year you're going to have this other system? And then they made a series of mistakes with the Saturn. Dreamcast did okay right out of the gate, but by that point, it was hard for them to pull out, and Dreamcast was like this in-between power level where it was better than the 32-bit systems, but was not as powerful as the PS2 and the other stuff that came out. Yeah. But anyway, I was just curious where you guys stood, but apparently you guys were, I don't know, very young, and I feel very old.
I think it would be a good topic for us to discuss in like detail in like a special episode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If we ever have enough fans, we will do a Patreon, and we'll have kind of different types of episodes for that. But I just was curious where you guys stood, but apparently you guys stood nowhere.
When was this? Do you know the year?
16-bit systems would have been...
Because these are in like the mid-90s, right?
Yeah, early to mid-90s.
So it would have been 10.
Yeah. But you guys didn't have like arguments on the playground about what systems were better?
Not really. Like, it was just like, I'm a Nintendo kid, you're a Sega kid. Okay, like, let's trade games for a week. Like, or systems for a week.
I think, because, like, PlayStation was, just coming out late 90s?
I think. It was either late 90s or early... No, it was late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, 90s. I think at that time, I didn't realize that there were multiple different types of gaming systems.
Oh.
Possibly.
Right.
I just assumed, like, a video game was a video game. Whereas nowadays, kids would see, like, so many different ranges of consoles and stuff like that. Even different ranges of consoles among the same company.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just think I was oblivious to it.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say, I just was aware of it because, like, most of my friends also had Nintendo, but then I had a couple of friends that had a Sega. It was almost one of those things where it was like, it seemed like the kids that, like, because, like, I grew up in a neighborhood where we had a lot of apartments. I grew up in an apartment, and then there, just, like, a block or two over, there would be a bunch of houses. And the people that had houses and had money had the Segas, and the people in the apartment complexes and didn't have money had Nintendo.
That's interesting. Huh. I don't know why, because it wasn't necessarily more expensive. But maybe it's like, maybe they're like, we could try this alternative system since we have money to toss around. I don't know, but... Because if people still, like parents who didn't know anything would still be like, are you going to go play Nintendo? No, Mom, I'm a cool kid. It's Sega.
How many standout characters did Sega have? Because I can only think of Sonic off the top of my head.
I don't... that's a great question that I wish I'd been more prepared for. I don't know if they really had, like, as many, like, characters. They had some series that were really good. Like, Streets of Rage, a lot of people still consider to be among the best beat-em-ups. The Phantasy Star series... I don't think in a technical level it stands up to the Final Fantasies that were on Super Nintendo, but some people definitely prefer... Like, I like Phantasy Star 4 probably better than I like the Super Nintendo Final Fantasies, but I don't feel the same about Phantasy Star 2 or 3, but, they had really good series over there. I don't think they had as many specific characters. It might have helped them out. I don't know. They did have, at the time, like, Electronic Arts... I mean, they put their sports games on both systems, but the better versions were almost always on the Genesis for whatever reason. And so, I think that helped them. They got that crowd. That's always a big deal when it comes to consoles. Like, if a system doesn't have the good sports games, they tend to struggle. Even though I don't personally care about that, it's one of the things. But yeah, okay. I just wanted to know, and now I'm old. So, cool. Okay, so we're past that. So what have you guys been doing with video games?
I mostly played this week's game. I did play a little bit more of the new Tetris building on. I finished my building, or my first building, which the first building, like I only did 2 playthroughs to finish that building, but like my playthroughs are like 30 to 45 minutes long. So anyways, and then I think there's 1 or 2 more games I tried, and now I can't remember what they were. So
Okay.
they were very memorable, obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, I was playing Earthworm Jim for quite a bit. I did have a space of time where I didn't get to play video games. I was at a tournament.
How did the tournament go?
I went 5-3 with Chaos Knights. I lost my first, third, and last game. So I was in the 2-2 bracket and almost went undefeated, but ran into some Tal that was ready for Knights and got it was close. My last 3 games were within like 5 or 6 points. So I can't complain.
That's really close.
Yeah, and I got to hang out with a lot of friends and stuff like that. So that was Friday through Sunday. And then got home, started playing Earthworm Jim. Had to take breaks every so often. We'll talk about that. But I did, coming off of last week with Dead or Alive, I kind of got into like a mood with fighting games that I haven't played in a while.
Right.
So I played a little bit of Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Nice.
Because I really like that.
It's fantastic.
The tag
Yeah.
esque of it. And then I tried Guilty Gear X just to remind myself about those games. That was fun. And then I also played and got pretty far Mike Tyson's Punch Out for the NES.
Oh, wow.
Played some of that too.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Or it gets tough anyway.
It does. I got to the Great Tiger.
Uh-huh.
And when he starts doing the little... I had to look up some stuff to remember like what their tricks were. But when he got to like he would like duck down and like shake back and forth and then like start warping around.
Right.
I would block, but yeah, I just couldn't block everything. So
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Those games are fun.
Yeah. As you know, when I was a kid, my friend had it because I got the new game every week, and I hated it because I was like, I wanted to just like mash buttons, and that's not what that game is. Like it's almost like a rhythm game practically. Like you have to make sure you're dodging and blocking and doing all stuff at the right time. And so only in the last year I went back and I played it, and knowing how it's actually supposed to be played, and I was like, this is freaking awesome, man. Like I'm not good at it, but it's awesome.
So going off of rhythm game, there is actually somebody who has beaten it blindfolded.
Oh no!
Yeah.
How do you do? Because you need to know their tells. Like you need to, and it's like they have some
from the sounds and stuff like that.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I guess it gets pretty random on when you get to Mike Tyson, but apparently everyone else is somewhat predictable.
Interesting.
But yeah, I've watched going down wormholes in YouTube.
Yeah.
Come across it. It's pretty cool.
Have you? So I've never even tried to fight Mike Tyson, but I've heard like he doesn't really have tells. But I heard there is someone in the audience will do something before he's gonna hit you. I don't know this. I couldn't tell you because again,
I think I've heard of that too. Yeah.
But that's fascinating. So kind of weird, but
beat Baldur's Gate 3.
You beat it?
No, I'm still in Act 1.
Oh, I thought you said you beat it. I was like, Jesus, dude, have you slept?
No, I'm still in Act like 1.5. I just got out of the main story of 1, but I'm trying to get like search every part of the map.
Right.
So
yeah, you have to. You're gonna be in that game for a long, long time.
Right.
So I had the other day I had a really rough day, and in the evening I was kind of both physically and emotionally tense, and I'm like, you know what I should do? I'm going to go to my Steam backlog and I'm going to play something I haven't played before and just kind of, not think about the world and the things that are stressing me out. And so I picked Outlast. Are you familiar with Outlast?
I've heard of it. I might have looked up reviews. I might even have it.
Yeah,
I have no clue.
It was a mistake. It's a survival horror game. It's a good game, I think. It's a survival horror game. And you are like a reporter and you're investigating this asylum where people have, I think, disappeared. Dude, the first jump scare, I think I yelped and nearly leapt out of bed. Like I like Hilary was right next to me. She started laughing at me, and it did not ease my tensions. It did the opposite of that. So I didn't play too much longer. But I want to go back to it when I'm feeling more ready to be terrified. But I also played another game that maybe I should have played this then. I played Crime Scene Cleaner, which when I first heard of it, I thought would be like you're in there after the forensic people go through, and it'd be like the power wash simulator kind of thing. But it's you're going in after the criminal is through, and you're trying to make sure there's not evidence behind. So when the police do come and investigate, there's nothing for them to find.
Oh, wow.
And so you have to, clean the walls, clean the floors, like put furniture back in the right place, get any trash, etc. Hide bodies, which sounds really grim, but there's not like you're not like in danger. You know what I mean? Because like at least in the first episode, there's not like a time limit. No one's coming to get you or catch you or anything. It really is just kind of like another version of a cleaning simulator where you're just going through and like easily going through and tidying things up and putting things where they belong, which sounds really tedious. And in some ways it is, but it was really relaxing. And I think I have a new job that I'm going to head towards. If I could just find people who kill people, I'm ready for that.
I don't know if I could do like cleaning in regular life is already rough enough.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd want to clean in.
I don't know why. Yeah, no,
like,
me too.
Like that game that you showed me about miniature painting.
Oh, yeah.
Like I do a lot of miniature painting.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing I want to do is play a video game about miniature painting.
Yeah. Right.
When I could just be miniature painting.
Yeah. The only thing I really don't like about it is because they try to make it, as realistic as they can. So like if you're mopping the floor and you have one of those sponge mops, you can't just do that forever. You have to go and you have to put a bucket under like the faucet, fill it up, and then wash off your sponge every now and again. Otherwise, you're just smearing blood everywhere.
Gotcha. And
then after a while, that water becomes too dingy. And so you have to clean that out and then fill it up again to make sure you can clean your sponges or whatever. It's, and you have to like carry things like bags of trash down to wherever your truck is. And it's an open backed pickup. And he's like tossing bodies in there. Like, dude, you still have to drive somewhere with that. What? I don't understand. Like, if a semi goes past you or looks down, like I don't think he planned it out very well. But you don't have to do that part. You just kind of fill up the back of your vehicle and it does it for you. So it's nice. Organizes it. It's good. Yeah, I don't know why. It's relaxing. I don't know if it's fun, but it's relaxing. And it's an interesting story. So,
what's that one called?
Crime Scene Cleaner.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's worth checking out if it's cheap. I probably wouldn't spend like tons of money on it. But all right. So should we talk about the main event here, Earthworm Jim?
Sure. So it's a 1994 run and gun platform game developed by Shiny Entertainment, featuring an earthworm named Jim.
Whoa.
Yeah. Who wears a robotic suit and battles forces of evil. The game was released for Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo before being ported into other video game consoles. It did have a sequel, Earthworm Jim 2, in 1995, and Gameloft developed and released remakes for mobile phones, Nintendo DSi, which was later ported into PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 as well, around 2018. Was there anything else you wanted me to go over? The plot, or...
If you want to do the plot, yeah, sure.
I'm not sure there was one. I didn't understand
I don't
much
really
of
know either.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything. I didn't realize there was someone that you're trying to rescue until the very end of the game.
Yes,
I was like,
I've seen
oh, that's what you're doing. Okay, I didn't.
Which
know
is
that
funny
idea.
because that very much interacts with the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Like 10 seconds in.
Yeah. There's a thing that happens. First you launch a cow in the first thing you do almost in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say much more than that, but you launch a cow into
You don't want to spoil a 30-year-old game.
Somebody hasn't played it. I guarantee you. So there were a couple other things I found out about. One thing I noticed when I was playing is that the animation's really cool. Like he's got a lot of different animations, runs around much like a cartoon, and that's actually they animated. They use like pencil and paper and drew each frame of animation and then just digitized over it, which is kind of neat. Like I don't know, like most games I don't think did that.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell it really does have that cartoon feel. I mean, it's not as, I don't think there's as many frames of animation as you would get in a cartoon, but nonetheless, it does have that cool kind of swift or smooth motion to it in a way.
Oh.
What's up?
So he's on a quest to meet Princess What's Her Name.
Is that her name? What's her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Says, here's the plot.
Yeah.
Jim is a normal earthworm until a special super suit falls from the sky and allows him to operate much like a human. With this worm body acting as a head and the suit acting as a body, Jim must now evade the game's many antagonists who want the suit back. The game plays out with Jim succeeding in his quest to meet Princess What's-Her-Name. And then I won't read the last part.
Okay.
But yeah, I felt like there wasn't really a story that was set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in the game. Like I think maybe just because the era, you probably had to read the instruction manual. They probably expect you
Probably.
to read the instruction manual to get that because I know I'm just like I don't know. I'm running through and I'm shooting things and whipping things and that's all I knew about it.
Yeah.
Start off in a junkyard, which I'm
Did you
assuming
read-
is where you find the...
Back in the day, did you read instruction manuals?
I did back in the day.
Oh, I always used to read the pamphlets that came with the games.
Oh yeah.
I just plugged in and start playing.
Oh, my
I'm actually
goodness.
very upset. Hot take that games don't come with
Me
pamphlets
too.
that much anymore.
Me too. I want to have like a book in front of me that has a control scheme laid out so I can just glance down and be like, oh yeah, that's what that one does. So I don't have to go to the menu
Right.
and be like, oh wait, now I have to memorize that and go back. No.
That was a nice thing. They showed the buttons. They introduced you to like the main characters usually and gave you a little backstory. They would sometimes give you like hints and tips. And then at the end, they even had like a notes page so you can write down your...
Yeah.
If they had like continuation codes
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Hilary, how did you function in some of the... Because some of the, like, honestly, some of the older games, like, if you don't read the instructions, there's no way to find out some things. Like, how did... Were you just like...
That's why I did fish game.
You're like, all games are ridiculously hard, and I don't know why. Okay, I was curious, because, like, yeah, some games, man...
Like, occasionally I would look at them, like, but, like, I'd only look at them after I had already been playing the game for a while, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm bored, I'll look at this now.
And then if you wanted to, you could upgrade to the... What do they call those?
Walkthroughs? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those type of things.
Yeah, I would get walkthroughs for some of the bigger games I got. So, but
Yeah.
that was mainly so that I could like try and complete everything and do all the side quests and all that kind of stuff.
So yeah, you're an earthworm in a suit. You kind of pop up in a junkyard. Was the first level. How was that level for you guys?
So one of the issues that I have with this game is that I felt like a lot of games back then would have a little bit of a tutorial as you were playing the game. And this game doesn't have that. And so I think on the similar, we were able to look at the manual, or we were able to look at something that did kind of tell us what the buttons were. Problem is that we're playing on a simulator, so the buttons don't actually match up to what it's saying that it does. But yeah, so like it was a little bit of a struggle because other than just kind of running around and just testing out all the different buttons, you know, not really knowing like how to do the helicopter move or not being able to kind of have that little bit of a walkthrough of like, okay, this is how you do this, was a little bit of a struggle, I found.
The thing that's surprising about that level, and I think it's true through most of the game, is that it's not like a lot of other games are where you're basically going left to right or bottom to top. Like, you're going all over the place. Like, the levels are... I would love to see, like, a map of the levels just totally laid out, because it just feels like you're cycling around, but you are seeing new things. But, yeah, you're not just going one direction the whole time. You're all over the place doing all kinds of weird stuff. So
yeah, I guess I'll go over kind of the buttons. You had a jump. You had obviously your D-pad that you can move. What was interesting is that it was more than just like the normal cardinal directions. Like you could aim forward, up, or like diagonal.
Yeah.
You had one where you pulled your head out of your body and whipped it at people, which I guess was great if you ran out of ammo, which was hard to do. I don't know if you ever got low on ammo, but once you got to 0, you would slowly recover up back to 100.
Oh.
And then you could shoot gun. You could get different kinds of guns. I never figured out how to swap between the guns. I just know that if you got the plasma gun and you used the gun, it would always use the plasma first.
Right.
So
yeah,
it felt weird because I had to like whip around after that.
Anytime I got that gun, it was never at a spot where like I felt like I needed the more firepower. Like, the enemies were still the same.
Right.
I'd still kill them just about as fast. I'm like, well, this is... I mean, it looks cool, but why? Like, I don't know. I don't know if there was a reason for it, really.
Yeah. And then to touch on your level makeup. So there's no like linear path to this game.
Yeah, and there's not an obvious course that you're supposed to take on almost any of the levels either, so...
Yeah, I kept thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go back to where I came from if I go this direction, but it usually wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I'm still progressing. It just didn't seem like the way I was going or what I was doing was gonna lead to that.
And then like I would get frustrated because like I would see something and I'm like, oh, like how do I get to that thing? And like it's such a roundabout way to get to that thing that's just on this other side of the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then, like, and sometimes I would never get there because I ended up going somewhere else. So
I noticed that too. Like, you could jump through certain walls and other walls you couldn't. Like, there was one time where it was right before the big conveyor belt that you had to go up.
Right.
So you go over, and then you'd see another platform here. You couldn't jump to that platform. You had to go around and bend around the corner.
yeah.
Right.
Which was interesting. It was cool that they used different... They tried to make a 2D game 3D-ish with the ways that you could, like, crawl up and around. It was interesting that it didn't follow, like, traditional, you go through a level, you fight a boss, right? Because in the trash can level, you had 2 bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I would consider bosses.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like
Yeah,
mini
I feel
boss
like
sort of things.
Wasn't every level had 2 bosses, but there was quite a few levels that had 2 bosses to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, the next one, the snowman and the cat.
Yeah.
And then there was even optional bosses.
Yeah, I think so. One thing, I guess the bosses, and this starts right at the first level, and this is actually maybe my biggest problem with this game, is that, so the first boss, or big boss anyway, is like a trash can, made out of trash cans and tires, essentially, right?
It's like a robot.
And so I'm shooting at him, and it sounds like the bolts are ricocheting. So I don't know if I'm damaging him at all, because he has no health bar. And so I have no idea if I'm being effective at all. And you have to shoot him like a lot.
Or not.
Or maybe you did whatever you did. I don't know. And so like the boss is like, I have no idea if what I'm doing is affecting him, or if I'm wasting, or if there's a trick I need to know and I'm not aware of it. Drove me nuts.
I noticed a little red hit signal.
Oh, did you?
On the boss.
I barely even registered it, but yeah, okay.
So there was maybe I just missed it. Because there were times, because on that trash can level, it was angled. So if you were on the right side of the screen shooting at it, sometimes you shot over.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was quite weird, but I did notice it, and I think we didn't talk about it, I don't think, last episode, but I had borrowed your handheld system for Dead or Alive because mine was running slow. I found out why my emulator was running slow. It's because I had to lower the FPS for my Steam Deck for Baldur's Gate 3, or I'd burn my house down.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So I figured it out. I put my FPS back. But when I had my lower FPS and playing Earthworm Jim, I never killed that trash can.
Really?
And I shot it multiple times. It was wild. But when I changed it up to normal speed, it was still random. It felt like.
Yeah.
I'd hit it a few times and then it would die, or I would have to like go through a few of its different stages, I guess you could call them, and then it would die. I did notice, like, in the boss fights, the computer knew where you were. It didn't just do normal actions like a boss in some other games might do. It knew where you were and what to do, because I noticed that there was a few different modes, right? There was one where he would stomp and a trumpet would fall down.
Right.
And the trumpet would always fall where you were standing.
Yeah.
And never just randomly fell. Then he would go into like a rope. So that was more humanoid mode, I guess. Then he'd go into like some like robot mode where he'd shoot an anvil at you.
Right.
And then he would go into a mode where he was in that same robot mode and he would chase you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I felt like he would be in that robot mode until he hit you. And then if he hit you, he'd like turn back into a humanoid, shoot you up in the air. And then you'd have to like, I don't know. It was very dependent on what you did and not just like a normal thing.
Like there's patterns like a lot of bosses have. Yeah.
And I noticed that in the second boss too, where he would puke fish. But the trumpet would always be right where you were. And what was interesting is when he would start puking, the trumpet would come out. But then I like waited for a bit until the trumpet came out. And then I was able to manipulate that boss where the trumpet wasn't falling right when he started puking.
Right.
So I thought that part was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of do things to manipulate the bosses a bit. I don't know if I quite can't control the second boss like you did. but yeah, no, I agree. Like the I guess the AI here is pretty good for the bosses. Like it really does react to your actions instead of just doing a repeated pattern like so many bosses do. There's another thing too, and this isn't the case in all the bosses. I'm thinking because it's the most recent boss I fought, the snot boss. You have to fight this ball of snot, and it's like you're on a bungee cord essentially, and you're trying to smack him into the wall. But like the thing about that is you don't do that action anywhere else in the game. This bungee cord thing, and so even more so than other bosses, I'm like, am I doing the right thing to hurt this guy? And you're learning how to do this new control scheme essentially against a boss that you haven't had to do before at all, which is kind of weird. But he also kind of just he'll follow you and try to get to where you're at. But they like the bosses are clever, I think. But I think sometimes they make them. They're like, here's a whole new thing that you haven't had to do before. Fight the boss like that, and it's not a fan of that.
Yeah, my biggest issue was with most of them is that like you just didn't know if what you were doing was effective. And some of them you had to shoot, some of them you had to use the whip, some of them you had to do both. And it wasn't always clear if what you were doing was effective or not. The amount of hits that they had seemed to be randomized. Mm-hmm. So, which made it even more confusing on whether what you were doing was effective or not. Because, like, if you're watching, like, a video of somebody else playing it, they kill the boss in 3 hits, and you're like, okay, I've hit him, like, 5 times, and it's still not doing anything. So what am I doing wrong? And so that was frustrating to me.
It's interesting that you mentioned watching other people, because I only made it to a certain portion, and that was mainly because the game, you had lives, you had continues you had to collect, and then once you ran out of continues, you had a game over, and game over meant you started from the beginning. So to get all the way back to your progress, it was very difficult. So I had made it to the submarine level, and then I kind of watched other people play, but it wasn't until I watched other people play that I knew that there was an actual optional boss, and that is the chicken thing that you're racing, which is a whole nother game mode. Yeah. Like, as you were talking about.
That's it. Basically happens in between different worlds.
Right. You're like traveling to the next world, and you're racing, and it's very much, I don't know what it's like. It's like a tunnel that you can go almost 360 around. Like you're
going through like a warp tunnel that has asteroids coming at you, and then there's a couple other things that you can collect. There's some like round circle orbs that I don't know what they did other than just collecting them.
I called them bubbles. They popped.
Yeah, but I don't know what they did for you at all.
Yeah, the only thing that I can guess at, because of how other games play, is that like if you got to like maybe 10 of them, it would give you an extra life. Because I know that's how games back then were. Like, so that's the only thing that I could guess, but I wasn't paying attention enough to know if that's what it did or not. And then there was like a little lightning ball that you could get.
There's a lightning blue one.
Yeah, that like kind of you could activate that, and that would help put like a defense shield around you for a few seconds. So
you would activate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the buttons. I don't remember which one.
I only pushed like speed up button.
Yeah.
That's the only button I.
And I don't know how long. I don't know if it lasts a certain amount of time or if it was there's a certain amount of hits. I'm not sure.
Here I am dodging asteroids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a red lightning bolt that was supposed to speed you up. I say supposed to because my emulator didn't work. So I would get that, and I'm like, and nothing happened. And so when I started watching other people play, I'm like, this is something that you're supposed to collect, but I don't know why I'm collecting it. And so like
did you have to fight the chicken?
Yeah, I had to fight the chicken every time.
Wow. See, I never fought the chicken.
I never fought the chicken.
But yeah, because we played on emulator, there was some weird stuff. Like it was really hard to do the propeller thing. I sometimes did it, but it'd be like for a second. And I tried some of the other versions, and on Super Nintendo it was easy, super easy to do. So there's some kind of emulation issue there. I mean, luckily I didn't need it for the most part because I didn't get to there's a certain level where I definitely would have needed it, but I didn't get that far. So that's a thing that we were up against, but I don't know if it would have changed my perception of the game too much.
Yeah. I felt like while the bosses I enjoyed, they all had a very unique play system. The regular monsters that you find traveling, some of them were, so it's interesting, they could be very difficult or easily manipulated.
Yeah.
Because if you, and obviously the game's not timed, so you could like go slowly, and if you saw them at the edge of your screen, they wouldn't come at you.
Oh.
So then you could aim your whip or gun or whatever your method of taking them out is. But if you're going in at a normal pace and they came after you, if they got within a certain closing distance, it was hard to get them off of you.
Yeah.
And then, like, the crows would, like, grab your head and wiggle you around, or the dogs would bite your butt and stuff like that and shake off you. Like, it was, and I don't think there was any buttons that you could do. You just had to sit there and watch your health diminish.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I tried, but, like, I don't think I was affecting anything.
But I felt like because some of those monsters were some of them were like impossible to avoid getting hit.
Right.
Especially there was a time where you'd flash back to continue after dying, and then immediately something would attack you.
Yeah.
That in combination with game overs, true game overs, it made the game very tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use save states like crazy, so I didn't end up ever restarting just because I cheated. I cheated my way through.
See, I've never save stated that.
And even still, it's too hard. Like, honestly, because you mentioned the submarine level. Holy God.
There was no instruction.
Yeah.
No, there's no instruction. You're in this bubble, and you have like little rockets that you can kind of spin around 360 degrees, and it'll shoot you along. But you're going through this, rocky corridor, and if you hit a wall, you could damage the bubble, and it'll also bounce you back. And you're timed. I don't know if you have a certain amount. I think you have a certain amount of air maybe in the bubble. I'm not sure.
Yes.
And so even if you don't smash your bubble, if you take too much time because you're getting bounced around, or you just don't steer well because it's hard to steer, you could die that way.
Yeah, I watched somebody on that level. They knew where to go.
Right.
And they still just made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me, and hopefully we might play it someday, the Ninja Turtles NES underwater level.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's basically that.
Yeah.
Do we want to share where we got? Because like none of us beat the game. Did we all watch videos?
Yes. Watched. Yeah.
So I stopped at the second level of the Snot boss. I think I tried the second level like 2 or 3 times, and I was just like, okay, I'm done. Like, so I stopped at the Snot boss.
I did it. I fought the Snot boss. I got to the third level, and I probably spent, or third round, I guess, I probably spent over an hour trying to defeat him, and half of that was after I watched the video to see exactly how to defeat it. I still had to, like, do it, and that was hard. And then the very next level is called level 5, and the first time I ran into a spot where, like, I didn't know where to go, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm done now. I decided, like, I don't want to keep trying. I'm okay.
Yeah, I made it to that submarine level. I made it to the first of 2, I think.
And there's one where like you get like 30 seconds of air, and then there's a really big one where you get like 99 seconds of air.
Mm-hmm.
That one is so like
that one can.
Yeah, I made it to the first one. I made it. By the time I got to the first one, I was figuring out the controls. Got lost. I didn't know where to go. It doesn't point you direction.
Well,
it doesn't have a mini map.
They try to tease you like, oh, you can go over here and get gun stuff or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, don't
Maybe
do
that's
that.
what it was.
Don't do that.
And then I ran out of air, died, game over. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get through all this again. And I think I was getting pretty good at the first couple levels at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was getting close to recording day, and I just needed a break.
Yeah.
So that's as far as I got.
Yeah. So since none of us finished this game, like I know like nowadays I don't have the time or the patience to like chug my way through a difficult game like this game. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, if I had this game, it probably is a game that I get super frustrated, probably throw my controller, go away for a week, and then come back and play it again. Is this a game that you guys think you would finish and beat back in the day, or would you move on to a different game?
So I used to play Earthworm Jim back in the day and never finished it. So there's your answer there. Nowadays, I might I would obviously have to look up and watch people on different things, but I know that it's only, according to How Long to Beat, it's a 3-hour game. I think after the Snot Boss, there's not too many more levels to go to finish the game. So I would probably try to complete the game if I had the itch about it. I know back in the day, it would have been the same thing. I would have been like, eh. Yeah. Maybe I would go back to it, but
I had this game. I'm pretty sure I bought it used, and up until this thing we're playing, I never even got past the first level. I think I got to a certain point. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And now the thing is that time is limited, and there's so many good games. And I know a lot of people love this game, which is cool. But even with save states, I find it too hard. And if I'm going to save state my way through a hard game, like I would rather go to like Mega Man. Like I played Mega Man 2, which is one of the easier ones, but still difficult to me. But I enjoyed that play a lot more than I enjoyed this one, even though that has a lot of arguably cheap deaths and really challenging stuff. This one, like I might go back and try it, but I don't know. I'm not super in love with it. And I just think there's a lot of things I'd probably pick. Even if I wanted that really challenging game, there's a lot of things I'd probably pick before I picked this one.
I will say, though, for Sega, the artwork was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The visuals, the bad guys, they had, you could see the cat that you're working towards dancing in the background and heck. And I thought the artwork was great, though there were times where the artwork was a little confusing because you couldn't get to a certain point. You had to go like up and around. But yeah.
I think if you wanted to show somebody what the Genesis or the Super Nintendo is like capable of, like this is a great game for that, because the animation is so impressive. They have digitized voice, which is pretty decent for the systems that yeah, I mean, I actually found the voice a little bit annoying, but the voice in this is better. Like if you play Street Fighter Championship Edition, Super 2 Championship Edition on the Genesis, it's like what is happening? So this was much clearer. You know, it's good as far as that goes.
The music was pretty catchy too.
Yeah, the music was good.
The guy who made this music is the same guy who did the music for Mass Effect later on.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
So, one of the things that I did, especially when I got to the submarine level, I would start watching a walkthrough play to kind of figure out where I needed to go. And then when I decided that I was done playing, I finished watching that video just to watch all of it. After I watched that, I watched a speed run, which, if you are aggravated by this game, do not watch the speed run because it'll just make you even more mad. The guy finished the game in 30 minutes.
I can't even.
And I think he had those special, like, because the bosses are randomized and how many times you had to hit, there's times where, like, he only had to hit him 3 times and then he was done. The one level that I was kind of laughing at through the speed run was For Pete's Sake, where you have the purple dog.
Oh, yeah.
The reason why I was laughing at is because apparently in speedrun, the dog doesn't matter. You just have to get far enough away from him that he can't grab you, and you just keep going.
Oh. Yeah, because you have to like whip him and shoot the monsters out of his way, and he's like running aside, and if he...
You have to like get him to his house or something.
Yeah, and if he like dies or whatever, then he becomes this like big, like roided up version of himself, and he grabs you and he takes you further back. Well, I didn't know you could just.
But yeah, apparently you can just run off, and as long as you get far enough away from him, he doesn't catch you, and you can just keep running.
That's funny. I never heard that before. That's wild. If I ever play that level, I'll try that, but I will not play that level probably. So,
so I guess we talked about would you play it again? As far as replayability, I think it is one of those games where there's not going to be much different that you're going to get if you play it. If you beat it and then play it again, maybe you want to 100% it, maybe you want to speedrun it. But after you get to the end, get to the ending, I don't think there's really any reason to replay it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, unless you're a speedrunner and you want to get that good, but I am not. So it's not going to be... I would have traded it in at some point. If I had actually gotten through and beat it, I would have been like, I'm never touching this thing again. It's going away now. So... As you mentioned earlier, this came out on a few different systems, and I tried a couple of them, and there are some differences as well. So like it was actually made originally for the Genesis, and so a lot of people consider it kind of the definitive edition. It did come out on the Super Nintendo, and the differences there are it has one less level. It has more graphical effects though, so it has like scaling backgrounds and some lens flare, but it also runs at a lower resolution. It's more colorful because the SNES could put more colors on the screen at the time than the Genesis could, and some people like that and some people don't because they like the grittier look of the Genesis. I think it's just a personal preference thing. Also, the SNES one was a little more zoomed in, which is terrifying to me because that means you don't have as much time to react to stuff if it's coming at you. So I don't think when I played it I couldn't really tell, but apparently it's just a little bit. But even still, I don't want the added difficulty. You could also get it on the Sega CD later. The Sega CD one was very much like the Genesis one, but it had longer worlds, like there was extra levels tacked on to some of the worlds. It had some animated cutscenes, Red Book audio. So it was just kind of a souped up version of the Genesis one. I played a little bit of that and got to like the first level that wasn't in the original, and you're basically, it's first level, or that kind of setting, but you're out of your suit and you have to like bounce around, and I was like, I hate this. I'm like, I don't need more levels of this, honestly. Like I'd almost be tempted to go with the Super Nintendo one just because it has one less level, to be honest. I don't know which level it kicked off of there, but I think a lot of it just comes down to preference. Like, what do you really want? I guess if you have the Genesis and the Sega CD one and you want the longer game, go with that, but you know, there's also a Game Boy Advance one, which is well nigh unplayable. Apparently, like it's the controls are not responsive. The graphics are really clunky. It's even more zoomed in than the Super Nintendo one is. I wouldn't touch that one.
Keeping with Earthworm Jim, we're going to bring on a younger member to get kind of a perspective of someone who wasn't around during these times. He has played some of our Super Nintendos and N64 games, but he really started around like the Switch era into playing video games. So we're going to bring on my son, Vinny, and he's going to give a few perspectives that he had in regards to playing the Earthworm Jim.
Nice.
All right, so we're here with Vinny. First, we're going to find out a little bit about Vinny just to see what games he has played, what games he likes, and things like that. So, first of all, how old are you?
I am 9.
9. What was the first game system that you started with?
The Wii.
The Wii. Yeah, we had the Wii. Played Rock Band and stuff. You mainly play the Switch now, correct?
Yes.
And what kind of games do you normally like to play?
Like Pokemon, Mario. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
And maybe some Sonic games.
Sonic games.
Depends on which ones.
And I think you watch a lot of video games on YouTube on how to plays
Yes.
and speed runs and stuff like that. I do remember, I'm not much of a speed runner, but you have sped run Mario Odyssey. That's really cool.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even make it past some of the levels.
I know, right?
Yeah, I think it took me like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, man.
That's pretty
That's
good.
amazing.
That's awesome.
I'm not at like the first world in 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, so I thought Vinny would give some good perspective on Earthworm Jim because of the game that he is currently playing, which is kind of like a side-scroll platformer.
Oh.
Yeah, like his Cuphead.
Cuphead,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, you're playing Cuphead. Wow. That is
Yeah.
some challenge right there.
And
Yeah,
actually,
Made it to World 2.
Nice.
yeah, I personally think Cuphead... Now, Cuphead doesn't have you run out of continues, you start from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can try multiple times, but I do find Cuphead in some sense harder than Earthworm Jim, and I'm very curious to get your feeling of it. So tell us a little bit, what did you think of the artwork behind Earthworm Jim?
I thought it was like good, like the same as Cuphead. It was like really good artwork.
Yeah. If I wouldn't have told you it was a game from 30 years ago, would you have noticed?
No, I did not have noticed that was a real game.
Tell us, how far did you make it in the game?
I couldn't make it past the trash can boss.
Yeah.
Understandable.
So what did you like about the game? Or dislike?
I liked that on like the junkyard level, you had to shoot the gun to use the zip line.
Oh yeah. What did you find hard about the game?
All the the trash can boss and the dogs that try and eat you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you recommend this game to other kids to try out?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you were saying it kind of depended on how much it would cost for the game.
Yes.
Yeah. Would it be a game, if you saw a commercial for the game or someone playing it on YouTube, do you think that would interest you in going and trying the game? Because I know that you watch a lot of... No. What? Why do you think that would be?
Because... I mean, actually, yes. Because it would look easy. It depends. If it looked easy, then I would play it. But if it looked really hard, I would probably not play it.
Yeah.
Unless it's like $20, like Cuphead was, I would buy it. But if it's like $60, I'm not buying that.
Yeah. Well, good news. I think video games back in the day were a lot cheaper than they are nowadays.
Yeah, I keep trying to remember what like the usual. I want to say like $50 maybe was like new price for games. Probably maybe.
I'd have to ask my mom.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Some of them are like around 40.
Yeah, I think it just depends. I think it varied a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think between 40 and 60 was kind of the going rate.
I'm curious your opinion. I know we didn't ask this question. A lot of newer games, when you can save, or when you die, you would just restart from the level that you went off of.
Yes.
What is your opinion of this game where you had to collect continues, you had to collect lives, and regardless of how far you got, if you were to run out of those, you'd start at the beginning?
I like the continues, but when you like get a game over, I don't like it that like it's all just one level, and it's just like you have to restart all the way back from the game.
Yeah. You find that frustrating?
Yes.
Do you think that would be like a rage quit type situation?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all rage quit.
If I was like on the final area and I died, I would be so mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, best I'd be putting the controller down and be like, I'm going to do something else or play something else for a long time before I come back to this thing. I'm done for a while.
If you were to beat the game, do you find that this has any replay value?
Yes, if you want to do like challenges, like take no damage or no continues.
Yeah. Do you think, since we have the game now, do you think this would be a game that you would go back and try again?
I like that.
And why is that?
Because, like, it depends. If it's easy, then maybe I would try and do speedruns. But if it's hard, I would not do that game again. Like, I'm not doing Cuphead again after I beat it.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think this is a game that does not have difficulty levels. I did not notice
It
any
does.
it
It
does.
does?
It does.
It does?
I didn't miss that at all.
I missed that.
Yeah, at the very beginning, there's a practice, normal, or difficult.
Oh.
Practice.
Well, maybe we'll have to go back and try the practice.
Yeah, then maybe I'll start playing that again.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to say about the game that we didn't cover?
I can't think of anything.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. We'll definitely have to get your opinion on other video games in the future. I do think it is a great perspective to have a younger mind who wasn't around when these games came out, just to give their feedback on them. Because a lot of the times when we're thinking of games, a lot of our motivation to go back and play these games is from nostalgia.
Yeah.
And characters that we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
But to find someone to give a perspective on a game that they've... Have you ever heard of Earthworm Jim before I started playing it?
No.
No. See, which is crazy because Earthworm Jim is probably one of the big names in
and actually,
Sega.
I never saw it. Apparently there was a cartoon series too.
Interesting.
I don't know anything about it, though. I haven't watched it at all, but...
Well, thank you, Vinny, for coming on. Thank you for giving your perspective on Earthworm Jim. We will definitely have you in the future.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so there we have it. So just quick yes or no, guys. Do you think this game still holds up today?
I think it does. The graphics, the gameplay, the difficulty level, you're not playing the same game every level. There's a lot of variety to this game. If I had played it for the first time, I would be pretty interested in it.
It reminds me a lot of the indie games that are out there nowadays. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you really like tough games, yes. Honestly, there's so many games I played before this that I'm going to kind of say no for me. That being said, I know a lot of people love this game. And so I think it's worth trying. I just personally don't think that I need it in my life.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, side-scrolling platformers, running guns, they're not my style. They're not my first go-to,
right?
I guess. I'd rather sit down and slog through a 50, 60-hour RPG.
Yeah.
So, but I did have a lot of fun playing this game.
Good. Right on. All right, folks. Well, if you want to get a copy of this game and you have to have it on original hardware, I have some prices for you. I didn't price out the Game Boy Advance one because you probably just shouldn't buy that. So if you want the Genesis version, which is the one we played, if you just want the cartridge alone, it's $24. Not too bad. If you want it in the box with the instructions, so complete, it is $51. But if you want it brand new, never opened, it is $297. If you want it on the Super Nintendo, the cartridge alone costs $35. Complete costs $82. If you want it unopened, it is $264. If you have it on Sega CD and you don't care about keeping it, go to eBay immediately and try to sell this thing. If you have just the disc alone, $170.
Wait, what is this for?
The
Sega CD.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you have it complete, in the case of the instructions, it is $362. And if it is brand spanking new, never opened, it is $653.
Is that because it's rare on the Sega CD?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I assume, yeah, because not many people had it. But yeah, I wish I had a Sega CD, but I did not have that. I really wish I did, because I would sell the hell out of it. Right? I know, Vinny's over there, like almost on the floor. He's disturbed. Anyway, and you should be. That's a lot. Even though I didn't go for it, I mean, I think 24 or 35, totally reasonable price for this game, personally.
I agree.
And you're definitely going to get your money's worth for the amount of time that you're going to spend playing it, as long as you don't rage quit.
Yeah, and even the complete prices for not the Sega CD, but the other systems aren't. If you're like a collector and you really care about having everything, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's not real bad. So, okay. So, we've come to the point now where we are going to find out what game we're going to be covering next time. And we previously, off the air, have randomized the system it's on and what type of game it is. And then each of us brings 3 choices for that selection, which 2 of them are games we think are going to be good. One of them is a game that we think might be bad. And then we're each going to kind of vote on one to give it a little bit of a boost in the randomization. And the theme we had to choose from this time was Super Nintendo games that had a military theme. Now, it didn't have to be current military, didn't even have to be a real world military. It just had to have some kind of a military trapping to it. So, Steve, did you want to tell us what games you brought and why?
All right. So, Super Nintendo military games. Very interesting. I did not play a lot of military games in the past when I was younger, especially for the Super Nintendo. I think I was still stuck on side-scrolling.
On NES, it was a much bigger thing. I would have played Atari Warriors and Commando and all that stuff, but I don't know. So
the first game that I picked is called Super Conflict. It looked interesting when I did, because a lot of this genre I had to kind of look at some. I try not to look at reviews. I just looked at gameplay and gameplay pictures. Right. But it looked very interesting. The second game is a little confusing. It's Final Fantasy II, but it's Final Fantasy II in America. It's actually Final Fantasy IV in Japan. I'm a little excited about this game. I haven't played earlier than I think 6, but I do remember watching. I would go over to a babysitter's house and they had Final Fantasy on the NES, and I know the SNES has to be slightly better. And I love more current Final Fantasy games, so I'm excited about this one. And then one I'm not super excited about is called Super Battleship. When I first saw it, I thought it was going to be like Battleship, like the board game, just on the Super Nintendo. But when I did a little research on it, you are timing gunshots and torpedoes, I think. And the graphics looked rough. And so it's military themed, so we'll see how that goes.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Hilary, did you want to go next?
I have to check my notes because I had Super Battleship on my picks, and when I saw you had it, I didn't want to double up on that one. Especially in particular, since it's a bad choice.
I am one that just gonna pick everything you guys pick. I'm just gonna. You can double up, but yeah, I agree with that one. Yeah.
If it was a good pick, I would have doubled up, but because it was a bad pick, I don't want to double up, so I had to check my notes in our group chat to see why I changed it to. Okay, so my first choice is Aerial Fighters. It looks like it's a little bit of a flight simulator where you're shooting. So then my second choice is Star Fox. I didn't play on the Super Nintendo, but I did play the N64 versions. So it is a series that I've played and enjoyed. So I'm curious how the earlier edition...
I'm interested too, because I only remember it from 64 as well.
Yeah.
I played it on the SNES.
Did you do a barrel roll?
I did lots of barrel rolls, I feel like, yeah.
All right, and then my replacement pick for bad pick is War 2410.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, a lot of the games when we're going through our picks, I just kind of go through our simulator, and our simulator shows a little video of the games, and so I kind of just look at the video to see if it fits in within the theme that we're trying to do. It does give a little bit of star rating just so that I kind of have an idea if it was but I don't know where they're collecting that star rating from. So this one only had like a 1-star rating. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm looking for a bad game, this kind of fits the bill. So.
All right, cool. So my picks were, the first one I picked was Gemfire, which is a kind of not really kingdom building, but a strategy game where you're also controlling a lot of aspects of your kingdom. And the reason why I picked this is because I swore to myself this year I was going to learn how to play either the one of the Nobunaga's Ambition games or the Romance of the Three Kingdoms games, which are both set in actual history, so Japan and China respectively. So those games are both absurdly deep, and this one is a little bit less so, but still has a lot of depth to it. Like you can gain advantages by marrying like the princess of one of the opposing lands, for instance, and you can also play this 2-player, which is intriguing to me. So that's when I picked. I also picked Ogre Battle, which I actually had on the PlayStation 1 because they ported it over there. I had honestly no idea what I was doing. I always meant to go back to it, and I just never did. But it's similarly, you run a kingdom, and you're trying to expand your kingdom and get rid of the people that oppose you. It's kind of dark when I say it like that. The last one is D-Force. We're piloting a military helicopter, and it doesn't seem like it plays that great. I like the shoot-'em-ups, which is what this one is. But it starts off seeming pretty normal, and then it goes haywire, and you end up like shooting at dinosaurs and stuff like that too. So it's kind of bizarre. So those are our 9 choices. We're each going to vote for one to have a little better chance in the randomizer. Steve, which one are you voting for?
I'm actually not going to vote for one of mine.
Oh.
Yeah, I am going to vote, in air quotes, not one of mine. I'm going to vote for Ogre Battles.
Okay.
I did originally have Tactics Ogre on my list, but we kind of voted it out because because David hates all my picks.
No, I
did have something to say about them.
I said, "Oh, there's a fan translation, so that's cool. We can totally do it." And you're like, "I'll change." I'm like, "No, I literally am saying we can do that. That's great. There's other versions on future systems, so it works."
Right,
Steve.
But because it was a fan translation, not an original American version. I'm gonna go with Ogre Battles. I am curious to see how those type of games hold up on the Super Nintendo.
Next time we have Super Nintendo, I'm picking Tactics Ogre for every single pick. I can't do that, but I want to. Yeah, what do you want to vote for?
I'm going to vote for your replacement of Final Fantasy II. I love the Final Fantasy games, and so a chance that I get to play it again.
It doesn't matter what we vote for. It's going to be Battleship.
Yeah, probably. I'm also not going to vote for one of mine, and I'm actually also going to vote for Final Fantasy 2. As much I really want to play that Jumpire game, but I guess I can play it without it being part of the show, or I could do it in the future or whatever. But I think I only played just like a tiny bit of Final Fantasy 2. Again, I think that's a game my friend had, so I didn't do too much with it. But I'm very curious to try it out, and obviously we won't beat it in a week, but get a little ways into it and see what it's about. And we have a fourth voter now. Vinny, do you remember the names of the games or what they were?
Yes, and I know which one I want to vote for.
Okay, which one?
Star Fox.
Star Fox, sweet. Not a bad choice. Okay, great. So we are now, this time, randomizing out of 13. So the game we're playing was published in 1991 by Asmik.
Is this your bad pick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a vertically scrolling shooter that puts you in the cockpit of a military chopper and then sends you into a dimension full of dinosaurs. It's not really clear why, but the missiles are real and so are the pterodactyls. The military accuracy is questionable, but there's definitely a lot of chaos. There's no question there. So we're going to be playing D-Force. Oh, man.
Wish us luck.
I played it briefly and I didn't immediately cry and throw the controller across the screen, so maybe that's all right. I can hope. And so now we're going to do something we haven't done before. We're going to, I talked about the randomization, how we pick the game. So we're going to figure out what kind of game we're going to be bringing to the table next time to pick from. So we're going to be randomizing that here on the podcast, which is exciting.
And you can get our reactions.
Yeah. And if we keep getting Neo Geo RPGs, then we're going to keep trying again.
Yeah. So the first randomization that we're going to do is what system we're going to be choosing from.
All right, here we go.
So we have the
NES.
NES.
All right, awesome. So that's good.
I don't think we've had the NES. Yeah.
We have
No.
not, so that's fun. Okay, let's figure out what kind of game we're going to be doing.
Worst rated.
Oh my god! Okay, so we don't actually
How
have
does this
to.
work?
We don't actually have to choose these games because they are the worst rated. If they are the worst rated, so I'm going to find what the 9 worst rated games are, tell you about them,
And then we vote.
Yep.
and then we vote.
I vote for whatever's highest on the list.
I cannot wait to see what we get. It'll at least be interesting to talk about. So that's what's going to be coming next time. But other than that, I think we're done. We're going to be playing some D-Force,
D-Force.
which is also maybe not a great game. We're going to have a couple tough weeks, folks, but we'll make it through. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Make sure that if you enjoyed this, you give us a 5-star rating or whatever the equivalent is on the podcast delivery method of your choice, because that helps a lot. If you can leave a comment too, that would be great. If you want to get in touch with us, I'll have links down in the description for our email, as well as our Discord channel and our Facebook channel. One thing we want you to do too is if there's games you want us to cover, make sure you go and tell us they're that, because one of the randomization things we have is fan choice. And so we'll take the list of games that you guys have suggested and we'll randomize from that. So make sure that you let us know anything that you'd like us to cover, because we're very open to that, whether it's fantastic or it's the opposite of that. Anything else, you guys?
I think that's it for me.
Yeah, and share with your friends too. So
Yeah, share with your friends. Yeah. And if you don't like us, share with your enemies. I don't care. I just want people to listen. All right, we'll catch you next time, folks. Bye.
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 Please join us again next week and remember to subscribe. If you don't, I'll have to hear them whine about it non-stop.